Bore da pawb or prynhawn da pawb, whichever time of the day you're watching this. Now, today we're going to share a story, and it's called The Wise Man and the Foolish Man. Now, do you remember that parable, that story that I shared with you about the sower and the seeds? Well, this is a Christian story, and it's referred to in the Christian Bible. And again, it is a parable, one of those stories that has a message for us. So it's called The Wise Man and the Foolish Man. Once, there were two men who decided to build themselves houses. So here's the two of them, un, dau, and they were both going to build their houses. The foolish man built his house on the sand. Now, do you think that's a good idea, building a house on the sand? What do you think could happen? I wonder, when that sea comes in and the waves crash, what's going to happen to that house on the sand? When the rains came, the land flooded. And the house collapsed. Look, it all fell down, and look, he's feeling very sad right now, isn't he? Bless him. Because his house has been ruined. He hadn't put much thought into it. He thought, I know, I'll put it in the easiest, quickest place I can put it, and then it'll be just done. But was that the best plan? But the wise man built his house on the rock. Can you see? He's built it right up here on the rock, hasn't he? Now, is that one going to get flooded and ruined, I wonder? When the rains came and the land flooded, his house remained standing. Look, we can see the two houses on there now, can't we? The house on the rock is still standing, but the foolish man's house has fallen down. It has collapsed. Now, the message in this story, let's have a think and let's have a talk about it. This foolish man here, he wanted to do the quickest thing as quickly as he could. He wasn't really thinking it through, was he? However, the wise man thought a little bit more carefully. He planned what he was going to do. He knew that if he took his time and thought carefully about it, that his house would remain standing. And you know, boys and girls, that's a bit like all of us, isn't it? It's about making choices. First of all, it's about thinking carefully, isn't it? Secondly, it's about making a choice about what we do. And, of course, planning and having a good idea, knowing that if we build something on very soft land or do something that isn't really going to come to fruition, then that plan isn't going to work out, is it? Now, I know a song about this story, and you're going to love it. It goes like this. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock, and the rain came tumbling down. The rain came down and the floods came up. The rain came down and the floods came up. The rain came down and the floods came up, and the house on the rock stood firm. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand, and the rain came tumbling down. The rain came down and the floods came up. The rain came down and the floods came up. The rain came down and the floods came up, and the house on the sand fell flat. It's the sort of story, boys and girls, that we can all learn from. Think carefully, plan ahead, and always make that right choice.